Hello and welcome to KennyRoy.com. I'm Kenny Roy. This is the Ask Videomail for the week of December 24th, 2012. Welcome to the site to the new members and welcome back to the old members. The Ask Videomail is your chance to get your question in character animation or performance answered in a video just like this one. But I need your question if I'm going to answer it. So please send your questions to webmaster@kennyroy.com. I go through all the questions and I answer the ones I think will help the most people. There's no such thing as a stupid question, and it's the best way to get the most out of the site. Now, obviously, I had to record this a little bit beforehand. I recorded this before December 21st. Which was when the world was supposed to end, and I'm betting that it didn't. It'd be pretty awkward if it did, and I recorded this video mail. But assuming we're all here and alive, welcome to the site. Please send in a video mail. Please, please, please send in a video mail. If you're on the site, if you've been on for a while, or even if you're on for a trial run right now, it's the best way to get the most out of the site by far. And always, for some reason, at the end of the year, I'm always a little thin on video mail questions. So go ahead and send one in right now. Stop the video, pause the video, and think of something and send it in right now. This week, I'm answering a question that I get to incorporate a little bit of the improv training that I had. If you're not aware, I did improv all the way from high school, all the way up until, well, I guess technically still now, but, really participating in improv and doing shows and stuff like that for years and years and years. And I think improv is one of the best things that you can do, but that is not like directly related to animation, like not directly like drawing or directing live action or sculpting or painting, like not really one of those things. Because what improv teaches us to do is to be really, really, really present and listen. And when you're listening, you get to find a little nugget that is buried deep within what somebody says. And that's a great way to train yourself to get at that subtext really, really, really quickly. So I super recommend improv for anyone who wants to really quickly improve their performance skills. Obviously, we can't do improv in a setting like this. You need to be face-to-face. You need to be in the same room together, working together in order to do improv training. But I'm not saying that it's not going to be possible in the future. I'd really love to do some improv training with some animators. Anyway, but another thing that improv really helps us do is to feel our physicality and really feel our bodies. So that's what basically the motivation behind picking this week's question. That's really where it came from. So why don't we take a look at the question real quick, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's a really, really astute observation that sometimes animation, they tend to lead with their head. Okay. Well, I know that probably the intent of this question was to point out that there's a lot of moments where a character will kind of like do that, where there'll be like a turn and then like something will happen or it's a reaction or whatever. And yes, that is technically leading the action with the head, okay? And they say that, the eyes lead the head, but the head leads the body. That's also what they say, isn't it? Right? So if a character is going to do a turn, we normally lead the turn with the head, right? However, what it doesn't take into consideration, which is fun to do, is the amount that you can actually break the true physicality of the human body when you're doing this, okay? And so to demonstrate, and now you're going to, you're going to have to get out of your chair to do this with me. We're just going to do an improv exercise. Now I said can't do improv exercises because technology doesn't exist, but this is something that we can do together. Okay, in improv we like to find characters that are unique and kind of out of our own bodies, because and I want you to do this too. Just stretch with me just a little bit so we don't hurt ourselves. I don't need my my Wacom glove. Just stretch it a little bit. we want to find unique characters, and the best way to find a unique character that is not you just like putting on like a silly voice and like, oh, I'm weird person number 5, is to get out of your body. And the quickest way to do that is to just choose a body part and lead with that body part and just walk around, okay? So we're going to try that. Let's try somebody that's proud, okay, and they're going to lead with their chest. So we're just going to walk and really feel like there's like an arrow coming out of your chest, and that has to really like take you everywhere, right? Feel it like actually like pulling you and leading you around, okay? Now this is a person that probably doesn't move like we move, right? But if you're not playing it as a gag, the audience loves it. The audience eats this up. You can put as much into this as you want, and they will just devour it, okay? Because if you play it straight, if you play it really, really seriously, then you appear to the audience as like a really strong character. If you just walk in and don't make it like, oh, but seriously play it straight, they love it. Just walk in and say, all right, guys, I'm in charge here, so let's all round up. Let's put away what you're doing. It's time to start this meeting, or whatever it is. Just the fact that you chose like this really, really like, you know, leading with your chest kind of pose, and it turns out you're the boss and you're calling a meeting to order. It just like the audience connects it and they love it. They love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay? So technically, the hips aren't leading the action there. They're not actually in control of the way that character presents themselves. The hips aren't the first thing through the door, right? Let's do it again. Sometimes it's fun to lead with something like your chin, you know, take on that physicality, and like actually like, you know, like kind of have it like pull you around a little bit. But you have to commit to that choice. You really have to be in that choice, or the audience, or it breaks quickly for the audience. So like I said, don't ham it up. Don't really don't take it so high up that your character is just like, you know, is just a caricature of itself. It's just like a fake like flat image of a character. Okay, a caricature. Did I say caricature of itself? Yeah, caricature of itself. All right, like this fake one-dimensional kind of character. You know, if you're like making stupid noises, no, you play it really straight. So if you have this person that's like led by their chin and like is getting pulled around, well, what does that make you feel like? What does this character, do this with me. I hope you're out of your chair. I hope you're watching this and trying it with me. What does this character make you feel like? You know, he's kind of nervous. He's almost like a chicken, right? Because he's getting pulled around, and like the head is going, you know, in kind of different directions, and whichever way the head points, you know, that's where it goes, you know. So this might be a person, and you don't like put on a goofy, you know, sounding voice, and you don't put on any goofiness. You play it straight. This might be the person that is at that same meeting that the confident guy called. All right, everybody, get into your chairs, sit down. Let's settle down. Okay. Now, who's going to present first? Maybe it's this guy. And he's like, you know, I had a lot of different ideas, and I was thinking, you know, we could go with something that, you know, a little bit more traditional this holiday season, or we could go with something that's a little bit, you know, more unconventional this holiday season. You know, there's a lot of different directions we can go. You know, you're playing it up. All right, so that's the guy that is like kind of like wishy-washy. He kind of like goes with whatever. Like he has a thought and he kind of like follows it, right? So as you can see, you can really put a lot of physicality into your character that starts building up all this support behind your character's performance choices, and it can make your animation super strong. I know we're talking about improv right now, and like the audience, but it translates directly. There's nothing lost in translation when you're doing this. So the audience will just as much eat up the physicality choices that you make for the character when you match them with a great performance, okay? So they will so appreciate and they will be so on board for that moment when that character, like for instance, like the confident guy says, "Now sit back down," and he's like, "No, okay, all right, sure," and he's kind of like, skitters away or whatever, right? Because you've really clearly, and you've played it straight. You've established it and you played it straight. All right. What else could you lead with? You could lead with like maybe your elbows. What does this person look like? What does this person kind of do? This person kind of like swings their elbows. They don't like anything around them. This might be a person that's like always like saying like, no, 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 no. Oops. Always saying like, no, 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 no. No, I don't like that. I don't like that. We might have, or maybe they cross them like this eventually. Yeah, I don't know. We got killed last time. We tried that. No. Gosh, no. That kind of thing. Closed off. That kind of performance choice. So technically, well, not even technically, but actually, when we learn animation, we learn that like for something like a simple turn, we want the eyes to lead the head and the head to lead the body. But you don't necessarily have to. You don't necessarily have to like stay completely married to this idea that the hips are what needs to really dominate the physicality, the physical part of the performance of your character. Another thing to think about is that as much as you are leading with something else, be it chin or chest or elbows or whatever, as much as you are leading with it, feel when you do a turn, even when you do a turn where it feels like the chin is pulling you around. You might start with an action on your head, but you really are actually staying centered over your hips, and you will do a little bit of an anticipation to turn or to step in that direction. You understand? So you can never break the actual physics of your character. All right, that's very important to remember. You might be able to put on a very strong physicality, but the weight has to remain accurate, or we're pulled completely out. So it'll look like if it's this guy and he's just like leaned, I'm going to lean against the wall so you can see it. But if I'm walking and my walk cycle has my guy lean this far forward by his chin, it's almost like as if something is holding me up, and that will look ridiculous to an audience. It's like he's being pulled by his chin like through the scene. Or he's like in Tom and Jerry when they smell like a pie and the cat's asleep and then just kind of like stays asleep, but that smell kind of like lifts them off the ground and they like float towards the smell. That's what it'll look like. All right. So whatever you decide to have lead that action for your character, for your physicality, if you want to make that kind of like higher level performance choice, that's great. Still needs to be, really, really nice and super physical, and you really need to do these weight shifts correctly, even though you've made a very strong choice. Do you understand? So that being the case, great question. I hope you all did get out of your chair and try these. Try a few more. Pick different parts of your body you want to lead your character and decide what that means. Maybe it's your foot, you can't see it, I'm sticking my foot out, or your knees, right, or your stomach, whatever you want to choose. And just feel that character and see if that is inspiring you to make very strong character choices for your character, and then imagine what it's like to do it the other way around. Getting a really strong character or having a performance choice in mind, and then saying to yourself, like, how can I tweak the physicality of this character that the audience will just really latch on to? So if they are like a snake in business, if this is a really like snake-like kind of like character, like how can I make him? How can I move him so that like when he approaches the guy and says, "I'm going to steal your business" or whatever, he really does like in a snaky way, like he slithers up and says, "I'm going to steal your business," or "I'm going to steal your business," like, and it almost looks like a snake head, like when he pokes the other guy, "I'm going to steal your business," it'll conjure those images in the head. And really, you can use a lot more physicality if you play it straight than you might naturally think if you're doing animation like that's like sort of like pushed realism, like Pixar style. You can get away with a lot more physicality than you think. You're not going into cartoony if you use physicality to conjure images and to really make a strong kind of visual impression. Okay. Really awesome question. I know I kind of translated a little bit into improv, but to really summarize this, the hips don't have to lead every single action, but don't break physics for the sake of like just getting interesting physicality, and always play it straight. Play it very, very serious, whatever your choices are, okay? Awesome question. I'd love to see more questions. Please send me more questions. The address to send them to is webmaster@kennyroy.com. I hope you're enjoying, assuming we're all alive, assuming the world didn't end, I hope you're enjoying your holiday, your break, and Merry Christmas to everyone who celebrates. Good luck with your animation, and as always, rock on.